brewing in the Atlantic.
This wave, this could become a depression this weekend. Increased development chance there.
Out west, the story is heat. From a new wildfire spreading across California's wine country to possible record-setting temperatures in Oregon.
Extreme heat is still the #1 weather-related killer.
Why are dead fish turning up in a Florida lake?
There's got to be a reason why all of a sudden fish are showing up on the grass.
And tips to help keep your lawn looking lush and beautiful.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Hurricane Erin continues to weaken and move away from the United States, but millions of people are still seeing and also feeling the storm's effects. Erin is now a Category 1 storm, but all watches and warnings are canceled. There has been relatively minor damage reported along the coast. There was some flooding, especially along the New Jersey shore in Atlantic City. On North Carolina's Outer Banks, Highway 12 remains closed after it flooded late Wednesday. But the biggest story has been the waves. The Coast Guard ship encounters some pretty big ones. You can see it here off the coast of Delaware and in Rhode Island. Surfers hit the water even though all swimmers were advised to stay out of the water because of deadly rip currents. Katie Benoit is on Rhode Island coastline this morning, keeping an eye on those massive waves.
The waves are pretty big here at Beavertail State Park. You can see they're crashing into the rocks here, and this is a great spot for sightseeing, so it's a good spot to observe these waves from Hurricane Erin at a safe distance. Now here's a look at some of the high surf we've seen so far across southern New England. Big crowds turned out to areas like the seawall at Narragansett Town Beach, but one thing we want to stress, officials and lifeguards are urging people to stay out of the water. According to the Rhode Island State Parks website, all state beaches are closed for swimming until further notice. We did speak to one man in Charlestown who did not heed the warnings and went into the water.
Kind of stupid. Nobody belongs out there. I wouldn't recommend going in for anybody else. We grew up here. They whistled. They were probably right to whistle when they did. I'm lucky I didn't get sucked out.
And right now, these big waves that we're seeing could last through Saturday morning. So if you do head out to Beavertail State Park here, be sure to be careful and not stay out on the rocks here.
And for a look at where Erin is right now, as well as 3 other possible storms brewing in the Atlantic, let's turn to Florida meteorologist Lauren Oleski.
We've got 4 areas that we are monitoring. Right now, I'm not seeing any threats to Florida, so we're fine. Erin moving up the coast of the U.S. We've got this wave. This could become a depression this weekend. Increased development chance there. This other one in the eastern Atlantic, still that moderate chance for development. This could become a depression essentially at any time, but there's not really a well-defined closed center of circulation, and it's going to be moving into an area that's unfavorable for development. So we'll monitor it, but again, I'm not seeing any threats to Florida at this time. And then this other wave in the middle of the ocean, 10% development chance there. That's not something we really need to be concerned with. So here's Erin moving out to sea, still bringing some rough coastal conditions along the eastern United States. There are no more tropical related watches and warnings for any portion of the United States right now. Remember, Erin peaked at a Cat 5. Next name on our list is Fernand and then Gabrielle.
And in recent years, Maine's coast has been battered by nor'easters and tropical storms. Waves there started to pick up in intensity yesterday and could grow bigger today. There's even a coastal flood advisory for much of that state. Max Williams shows us how folks there are preparing for these big waves.
Our guards are on alert and they are ready to go.
Keith Willett is the lifeguard captain at Old Orchard Beach. He says the storm is coming at a bad time, and they have already had to pull 4 lifeguard chairs.
We have a young staff that goes off to college come August, and we'll do what we can with what we have.
But Willett says if surf conditions get out of hand, they have a plan.
If it's too bad, we'll close the beach. If it's to a point where we can make rescues still, we will encourage people to stay knee-deep, waist-deep.
But for others, these conditions are what they've been waiting for.
A little rough, very choppy.
Ben Hines has been surfing since he was 10. He says he is looking for some bigger waves.
Yeah, I think we're waiting for the hurricane to come closer.
And yesterday, Erin was off the Maryland coast. Brad Bell was in Ocean City with a look at the impacts.
So here in Ocean City, the ocean is closed, the beach is closed, and what we have seen is the beach patrol going out onto the sand anytime someone steps out onto to the beach. We took a ride with the Beach Patrol lieutenant, and he too was ordering people off the beach. He says conditions are bad now, but it's going to get even more dangerous.
Typically what happens is the ocean will clean up a little bit. It won't look as scary, but you can still have, because of the storm surge and all the big waves, you can still have very, very dangerous rip currents and bad shore breaks.
The good news here in Ocean City is they don't expect any real damage from this storm. It is far enough offshore that there will, there's going to be a lot of wind. The surf will be high. There will be some movement of sand onto the boardwalk and perhaps into some streets. Some low-lying areas will flood, but they feel lucky that Erin is staying out in the ocean and not expected to make any landfall. In Ocean City, Maryland, Brad Bell reporting.
And on the coast of South Carolina, some residents are breathing a sigh of relief. That's because beach dunes did their job and helped protect coastal communities. Cameron Limes has more from Folly Beach, South Carolina.
So you can see the surge actually reached just to the bottom of the dunes, and that elevation almost acts like a natural seawall protecting the community.
High tides pulling sand off of beaches.
So when a strong hurricane brings storm surge and damaging waves, the dunes sometimes will survive. Sometimes we wait till after hurricane season to address major damage.
As Hurricane Erin moves slowly northward, coastal towns already checking on the health of their dunes. According to experts, reinforcing the dunes is not common, especially during mild hurricane seasons.
Renourishment projects come along every 5 to 7 years.
And out on Folly Beach, dunes cost millions of dollars to keep in place.
The project was $18 million. We're essentially managing them every single day. There's a huge return on investment from beach management.
But despite the hefty price tag, experts say the dunes are well worth it.
We maintain these beaches to have a buffer of protection. The reason that we maintain our beaches is for tourism, but also for storm protection. And the beaches functioned exactly as we hoped they would during the passage of Hurricane Erin.
The damage from Hurricane Erin is minimal because the storm turned away from land and headed back out into the Atlantic. To understand what factors steer hurricanes and determine the direction, we turn to meteorologist Marion Caldwell.
Well, Erin took a fortunate turn away from direct land impacts, and that's due to what we call steering. Now, hurricane steering refers to the large-scale atmospheric forces that guide the movement of tropical cyclones, and it played a crucial role in directing Hurricane Erin away from the U.S. One of the most influential features was the Bermuda High over the Atlantic. Initially, Erin tracked along the southern and western edge of the high, which typically would steer the storm towards the southeastern United States. However, a timely weakness in that high developed, and that created a gap that allowed Erin to veer northward instead of continuing west. And at the same time, an upper level trough or a region of low pressure from the northeast, this trough acted like a magnet, pulling Erin into the mid-latitude westerlies, which are fast moving winds that helped steer the storm northward and out to sea. The jet stream also played a role in steering Erin away from land, and these all together did create an opening that guided Erin safely away from land, sparing the U.S. from any direct impacts.
Parts of Northern California are under evacuation orders this morning. A wildfire that started yesterday in the Napa Valley area is rapidly growing. The picket fire has burned more than 2,100 acres near Calistoga. At 0% contained, several wineries and vineyards in Napa are in that evacuation zone. Intense heavy rain triggered flooding in Roanoke, Virginia on Thursday. Swift water crews teams reportedly helped a dozen people escape the rising water. Numerous roads were forced to close. They have since reopened. Some people staying at a local hotel were also forced out after it flooded. Roanoke's airport recorded 3.5 inches of rain in just 1 hour. And for the latest weather, news, and video, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we find out what's causing dead fish to wash up along the shores of Florida, and we'll look at how officials in Michigan are using AI technology to better understand the state's elk population.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast as we head through the day on Friday. We are dry across much of the Northeast. You notice we do have Aaron well down to our south and east. That's going to continue to move on off towards the east. We are looking at lots of sunshine all throughout the Northeast on Friday. That will continue into the day on Saturday. Of course, if you are heading to the beaches, we are going to see heightened wave heights as well as rip current threats as we head through the next couple of days. But the high temperatures today topping out in the 80s.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. High pressure will build over the region, and that means plenty of sunshine into the afternoon. It's also looking good as we head into Saturday, but the next weather maker will follow on Sunday. A cold front will lead to the next chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the 70s and 80s, staying below average for most. Then into the night, it'll get chilly as temperatures drop to the 50s and 60s across the region.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We are definitely seeing a little bit of the wedging effect with the North Carolina, North Georgia mountains. We're seeing temperatures in the afternoon in the upper 80s and middle 70s. That's a little bit below where we should be this time of year. We're expecting temperatures everywhere else to be seasonably warm, arguably hot in the upper 80s and lower 90s. A few isolated coastal showers in the morning, normal sea breeze activity in the afternoon across the area. So expect pretty widespread showers and storms across the region.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, it's still August, but it doesn't feel like it in eastern and northern parts of the country. Temperatures will be pleasant from New England to the Carolinas and into the Midwest. That is not the case out west, where nearly 50 million people are under heat alerts today. They stretch from Washington state to Southern California. The mercury will approach 110 degrees in Phoenix and 105 in Bakersfield. Richland, Washington could see 99 degrees, in Los Angeles settling into the mid-90s, and in western Oregon, temperatures could get into the triple digits this weekend, setting records and posing serious health risks. Vasily Varalum is in Portland, Oregon with more.
Extreme heat is still the #1 weather-related killer in the United States.
Weather and emergency officials warning Oregonians about the dangers of this upcoming heat wave. While everyone's at risk of heat-related illness, older adults, infants, those who work outdoors, and unhoused people are of top concern. Officials say it's important to know the signs that something is wrong and to step in if someone is showing signs of illness.
If you start feeling nauseous or dizzy or lightheaded, get out of the heat, go inside, drink some water, sit for a bit, maybe take a cold shower and cool off until you feel normal again. You don't want to get to the point where you're past heat exhaustion and you're in heat stroke, because heat stroke is actually a medical emergency.
Erin Zeiset with the Oregon Department of Emergency Management says to call 911 immediately if someone is showing signs of heat stroke. She added the thing people don't realize about the heat is how quickly it can disorient your judgment.
And so that's where the real danger is that your judgment starts getting impaired pretty quickly. So you have to rely on the people around you to notice.
Zeiset says if you're planning on exercising this weekend, try to do it during cooler points in the day, like the early morning or later at night. She specifically mentioned the popular Hood to Coast relay race happening this weekend as a point of concern.
If you feel comfortable turning your sprinklers on and letting them run through your sprinklers if they're coming through your neighborhood, just keeping an eye on them because they are going to be exerting themselves in the heat.
Dead fish are washing up on the shores of eastern Florida and has residents concerned about their health. Elle Peffley looks into what's causing the massive die-off.
Lots of dead fish and vultures apparently feeding pretty well off of them.
Dan Diamond is one of the homeowners at the sanctuary at Sawgrass Lakes.
He says last Thursday, for the first time, he saw workers in an airboat using a net to scoop up dead fish. And every day, even on Saturday and Sunday, the guys on the airboat are out there scooping up dead fish.
I want to see something get done soon, now. And I'd like the smell to go away.
The Westport wastewater treatment facility on Southwest Darwin Boulevard is nearby, but a city spokesperson says the city has confirmed no reclaimed water, wastewater, or chemicals have been released into the lake.
There's got to be a reason why all of a sudden fish are showing up on the grass, and and now we've got vultures coming to eat them. So I really don't know what is causing it, but I don't like it. It's very scary.
The city says the lake is not a source of drinking water for residents. The city sent us a written statement that reads in part, quote, "The city of Port St. Lucie was notified Thursday, August 14th of dead fish in the Sawgrass Lakes neighborhood. The city immediately responded and is investigating for a potential cause. The oxygen levels were tested and the results were normal. The city has not initiated herbicide spraying in this area since 2022. At this time, the city has only identified fish as being impacted, not any other animals."
There's something going on, and it's relatively recent because it just started, and it's changed the ecosystem here in a bad way.
Officials in Michigan are using cutting-edge technology to better understand the state elk population. They will shift through hundreds of thousands of images created by motion-sensing game cameras deployed across the state. But they are also getting a little help from AI. Mark Scholet has more.
We have right around 1,200 elk is our latest estimate for the northern Lower Peninsula.
Tyler Petruglia knows better than most how many elk roam our woods because as a DNR wildlife research specialist, that's part of his job.
In recent years, what we've done is we've used an aerial siteability survey.
For 8 days in the winter, 3 planes fly overhead, take a picture of the elk, do some fancy math, and come up with an estimated population.
Some of the challenges that we've had in recent years is that snow cover has been less reliable. Without that snow cover, it becomes much more challenging to get a good, accurate estimate of elk abundance on the landscape.
Good and accurate is the goal of the DNR. So this year, they're trying something different.
We've started up a camera survey where we've deployed just over 200 cameras across that same core elk range in the northern Lower Peninsula.
The DNR trading in aircraft a couple of thousand feet off the ground to motion sensing game cameras a couple of feet off of it.
We deploy these cameras in July, and we're going to be picking these cameras up in October to do image review.
Ground photos may have an upside for researchers.
The nice thing about this camera survey is we're doing it at a time of year where the bulls have full antler development. They're readily identifiable between bulls and cows, then also between cows and calves.
That's the plus side. The potential downside? They're going to be looking at 4 months worth of photos.
So certainly we expect hundreds of thousands of photos.
And that's where the Michigan Cooperative Fish and Wildlife Research Unit at MSU comes in. They'll be running all those photos through AI technology.
Empty photos and photos of people and vehicles, that can be 40 to 60% of your data set.
Those get deleted. The remaining pictures get run through a cloud-based platform.
Even though we have AI going and predicting that there's an elk in the photo, we want to be very confident that that truly is an elk, and then to do what's the sex of that elk, what's the age class of that elk.
The latest technology being incorporated to understand an animal that's roamed these woods for countless decades, and the attempt to make sure they remain a healthy herd for decades to come.
This summer's devastating wildfire season has sent smoke across states and international borders, affecting air quality thousands of miles from the flames. This week on our podcast, meteorologist Emily Gracie sat down with a climate scientist to learn about how climate change is stretching out the season and literally adding fuel to the flames.
2025 has been an intense year for wildfires. From the destructive January fires in Southern California to massive, never-ending blazes like Arizona's Dragon Bravo fire at the Grand Canyon, and Canadian wildfires that have triggered widespread air quality alerts. Wildfire smoke knows no boundaries. It travels hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles from the flames that created it, turning clear blue skies into a soupy, dangerous haze that can make breathing feel like work. Today, we're going off the radar to clear the air on fire weather. We'll explore the invisible dance between smoke and weather systems that determines whether your city wakes up under clear skies or a blanket of particulates. We'll learn why wildfire seasons are stretching longer each year and how a changing climate is literally adding fuel to the fire.
And you can find our podcast Off the Radar anywhere you get your podcasts. And as we head to break, we leave you with views of the Great Plains.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. We have some rain trying to move its way across the Midwest today, and it's going to continue trying to drift its way down. And it's going to cool things off because yesterday South Dakota was pushing into the triple digits. But 70s are on the way for your Saturday to the north, and those cooler temperatures will continue pushing their way farther south as we go into your Sunday. So a lot of the Midwest in the low 80s or 70s for Sunday.
Well, a good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region, and there will be the chance through the morning for the Gulf Coast to see a few showers or thunderstorms, and with a little heating of the day from New Orleans, the Houston area, San Antonio, Corpus Christi to Laredo could get a few showers or storms. Dry and hot 80s and 90s, Oklahoma into Arkansas, and Saturday, really not a bad summer day. Mainly dry across the region with a little bit of rain chance in South Texas.
Well, hi there and a good Friday morning to you, everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, you can see where the heat is definitely back on. That would be the PNW. 101 as temperatures soar past the century mark in Portland, Oregon, and right behind that 98 out of Boise. Sunshine back in Seattle and Spokane as well, and a chance for thunderstorms eventually closer to the Four Corners region. Fog gathering again at the Golden Gate there near the city by the bay. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
High temperatures, high humidity, and frequent rains create ideal conditions for fungal diseases to develop and spread in your yard. But there are things you can do to prevent it. Meteorologist Grayson Frond has more.
If you've noticed a yellow or orange powder on your grass or on the bottom of your shoes after being outside, it's likely turf grass rust, one of several fungal diseases spreading more often this summer. Others are Pythium blight, brown patch, or leaf spot and melting out.
If you do see some of your turf dying out, September is actually the perfect time to reseed those areas. And so if you've noticed that some bare patches have formed because you had some of these diseases, that would be the time to overseed and get new grass started.
Most of these issues can be managed or prevented by watering early in the day, fertilizing appropriately, and mowing regularly.
If it's fruit in the vegetable garden like tomatoes, make sure you're harvesting and getting rid of that stuff because that will help stimulate the plant to produce new fruit.
Fungal diseases usually don't cause lasting damage on established plants, but removing infected plants helps prevent problems next season.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday.